Cochard here in beautiful, tropical, sunny Calgary. I'm with my good buddy Paul Kent. And today, I'm going to teach you how to do some Fakie 360 blunt slides. Woo! Alright, so to do this trick, it's going to be a combination of two little tricks. You're going to do the Fakie pivot, which is where your feet are in Fakie, just switch, and your front leg is going to be up on the tail. What you're going to do is you're going to put weight on that front, or on that tail, and then you're going to bring the back trucks around through the air and just pretty much do a 180. Afterwards, you're going to do a toe side blunt 180, which is where you put more weight on that tail, and then you crank it around doing a toe side pretty much, but you're lifting the front truck. Now to combine these, it's a little bit tricky, but it's not too hard. So you're going to want to wind up your arms. I wind them up this way. Since I'm goofy, I'm going to be in switch, which means I'm going to be in regular. So my left arm is going to come across my chest, and my right arm is going to be sticking pretty much straight up. I'm going to unwind those as hard as I can to get that pivot real quick. The pivot is like really fast. That way you can get that momentum into the toe side 180. So, unwind your arm as fast as you can. Meanwhile, you're looking over your left shoulder. But as you finish the pivot and bring your board into a 180, you're going to want to kind of look at the ground a little bit to spot where your landing is going to be. So that way you can crank the tail around and do the toe side 180. Now, this trick is all about carrying your momentum from one trick to the next. So when you do that pivot, make sure you just keep rotating. Keep those arms swinging. So that way, you don't just do pivot and then toe side blunt 180. It's got to be one smooth rotation. And that toe side blunt 180, you got to make sure you donkey kick pretty hard with that back leg. You're going to want to push it to the ground. Hit that tail as hard as you can, but don't only hit it down, push it back like that. So you go crank. And with the momentum from the pivot beforehand, your wheels will break free and do a sick toe side blunt slide. Paul interrupted me. Oh, that was brutal. Alright, so I got some common problems that you guys might encounter. First one is your foot will slip off when you try and do that toe side 180. Usually, it's that foot that's on the tail. And what people tend to do is kind of put their foot about here with their toes, which my fingers, it's going to be about right there. And that, when you're going into the toe side blunt slide, is just going to make it slip and fall, unless you got some fishes, of course. But, to counteract that, you're going to want to hang your toes just a little bit, itty bit, off the tail. Like just on the rail a little bit. That way, when you go into pivot and then go into the toe side blunt slide, you still got a lot of grab and you can just push it around as hard as you want. Common problem number one. Now moving on, common problem number two. This one a lot of people will encounter because they just will. What people tend to do is do the pivot, keep that weight on that front truck, and then when they try to go into the toe side blunt slide, they keep that weight on that same truck. So when they try to go into the blunt, the wheels just hook up and they don't slide, and so they get just bucked off, and that really sucks. I've done that a lot today, and I have no fun doing that. Alright, so to avoid that, you're going to want to do the pivot where your weight's on that front truck, and then when you come into the toe side blunt slide, lean forward a little bit on your other leg. Lean to my right leg since I'm goofy. So lean a little bit forward so that de-weights the truck just a bit so you can push it around a lot easier. Now if you carry your momentum fast enough and your weight is in the right spot, you'll be able to just power through it, no problem. So just keep practicing, keep trying, and you'll eventually get it down. Easy trick. Boom. Alright guys, that's how you do the Fakie 360 blunt slide. If you got any questions, you're free to hit us up at motionboardshop.com. We got a free online chat and always price matching guaranteed. I'm Ethan Cochard, my buddy Paul Kent behind the camera.
Yeah.
Saying goodbye and thank you very much.
I thought you were going to get right out of frame, take 20 minutes.